happening right about now.
Welcome to the Felix Sama podcast, man. We're about to light it up on the serious tip. Listen, before I get into this, I want you to know that we're tapping into some deep questions on this interview. We're going to find out how the Latin Rascals help shape the freestyle sound, what Tony has learned from working with Michael Jackson, Gloria Estefan, Duran, and other music icons, how he moved from freestyle into house music and the international club circuit, why some freestyle artists evolve while others stay stuck in the past. And we're also going to find out where DJs, producers, and artists are earning money in 2026, the biggest business mistakes behind his success. And you know, we've all had those, and what fans should expect at the ultimate dance and freestyle experience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we're sitting down with someone whose fingerprints are all over dance music. He started as one half of the legendary Latin Rascals, helped shape the freestyle sound, earned his first gold record before turning 21, and went on to produce and remix everyone from Michael Jackson, that's how we say it in Hialeah, Michael Jackson, and Duran, to Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Madonna. Bro, I still haven't even met Madonna. Gloria Estefan, and Donna Summer, rest in peace. He still steps onto freestyle stages and gives the fans the records they grew up with. One of my favorites, which I hope you do when you come down here, is Lover and Dance With Me.
I love that. Okay.
Tony Moran did something rare. He evolved without running away from his roots. Tony, man, welcome to the Felix Sama podcast. How you feeling, big bro?
I'm feeling great. It's such an honor, to be someplace where people can see us together.
Yeah.
Because some people might think that we just kind of just met, can I get on your show? But Felix Sama and I have been already talking back and forth about music, about shows. You put me on your show with CBB one time, which was fantastic. And we just have so much in common in regards to how we feel about the broader image of music overall, and how we could bring it together.
Yeah.
And
it's a great time to be a producer right now. It really is. But before we get into that, I want you to take us back to Brownsville, Brooklyn, before Gold Records and Superstar Remixes. Who was the young Tony Moran, and what did music give you during those years?
Well, I grew up in, it was in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. So I lived at in the building next to Mike Tyson. We're about the same age. So you could see him, I don't want to say beating up people, but I mean, you would see the element of that crew, around there. And so, coming from having my Colombian Latino roots, my parents had come into this country and they basically were very hardcore and solid about needing an education to be able to do something that is going to provide your family comfort and security. And I was following that plan. What I was doing is going to school. I went to college, City College Engineering School. And then how some people rise above tragedy. I just was coming out with my girlfriend at the time, going to McDonald's after class at around noon. And we're walking to McDonald's to go get something, and a pack of guys say something really rude to the girl that I was with, something very inappropriate. And all I said was, come on, guys, give me a break. Next thing I know, I had 8 guys on top of me, beating the crap out of me, banging my face into the curb, and seeing the cops across the street, watching. And then I got stabbed in the back with the hunting knife.
Wow.
And so that
Never
was
knew that.
that was my That was right before my 17th birthday.
Well, thank God it wasn't life-threatening, man. Wow.
It went into the back. It was a big knife, but for some reason, and it was part of God's plan, is that it was like a notice for something. It just went deep inside and missed anything that could have been fatal.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, during that time, music had always been my passion, like it has been for many of us.
Yeah.
And what I saw as an opportunity there, because I when you get stabbed in the back, they open you up from the front. So I have 40 stitches in the front of my stomach, and so it took a long time for me to get posture back and do things like that.
Serious rehab.
But I had, so I was a bedroom DJ, you know what I mean? I went to Crazy Eddie's in New York, and I bought turntables, and I bought, a little mixer over time through my summer jobs. And at that point, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, can I please have a year in order to take this DJ thing someplace? Because I really feel like I'm doing something special.
Yeah.
And within that year, not only did I prosper in my DJing, but then I met Albert Cabrera when I was working at a record store, and I was working on a reel-to-reel doing edits, and he was working on a pause button doing edits, and like 6 months later, and I'm still like not even walking fully straight yet, we have a television show on the #1 station in New York at that time, which was Hot 103, which turned into Hot 97 later. And then within 6 months after that, a famous electronic music producer named Arthur Baker heard my mixtape on the radio and said, "Hey, I want you to do that on my new Diana Ross record, like those edits."
Yeah.
But I had never worked on equipment like that, nor had Albert.
Yeah.
So basically, we got one opportunity to another. And all I kept telling Albert was like, look, let's keep rolling and let's learn.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. I don't want to lie to anybody. I went into the studio, which I had never seen a recording studio before. And I had been working off a $300 reel-to-reel. And somebody else's perception of that was that we were doing magic on that. And, and so I had to stay reading instructions and stuff like that. Yeah. And in that time, within 2 years, my parents were out of the ghetto. My parents were in the house. It afforded
you that. It afforded you that.
It afforded me that, and all of those goals were happening at the same time. It's not like how I could get it. How can I be the best of me?
So real quick. So yeah, I got this because I wanted people. A lot of people don't know what analog editing is all about. So we're just gonna take a quick second to have people understand what analog editing is about. So basically, I'll let you explain it, but you're chopping up different bar notes and you're creating your own rhythm and patterns when you're doing this vocal editing. And I found, this little YouTube, Carlos Barrios showing this editing machine. Which one's this? Is this the Atari? I forgot which one.
Atari is the one that we bought. Ampex was the first one that we used. Okay,
so at the end, he shows a little bit of the section of what he did with these edits. Let me see if I could close in on this. Right here. Okay, here we go. So let's go right over here. Here we go. Edits going by. There's where the pattern changes that Carlos is doing. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I know that brought back some memories.
It did. And so what he did with those edits that you heard right there could have been from something that was going boom, doom, doom, doom. And, we had Albert and I had the foresight to feel that we can create our own rhythms and melodies through using various different bass notes and somehow create a collage.
A sonic sound.
That seemed like it was appropriate for the song.
Yeah.
And, and I don't, the way Albert and I worked, it was just like we would listen to each other's ideas and we would just act on them. And, it didn't matter where it came from. So next thing that I know, it's like, Mick Jagger's walking into the room and he's like, what are you doing? Bono's walking into the room. Pet Shop Boys are sleeping over on the sofa. They just wanted to watch Albert and I, because we had so many lengths of tape of various versions and takes that people would have, that the whole studio was just like a jungle. It looked like a dreadlock factory.
I used to do the same thing down here with the Blade Runners. You know what I mean? So I know, bro. So, yeah, it's crazy.
So that was our laboratory, and from there, it was only a matter of time being exposed to such different types of music by different people. So I was there, when they were working on Paul and Oates was working on the Big Bam Boom album. And, a lot of these acts, they liked us. I mean, it wasn't like I was serving coffee, but I think just the energy we're giving to each other.
Yeah.
They were
when you think about it, you got into the music business because of your talent, but it wasn't because you were a producer in the very beginning. It was because you were an editor, right? So that's how people noticed you. And a kid coming from the ghetto, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be in that status and that platform because of the raw talent that he has to manipulate a song is incredible when you think about it.
Listen, most venues do not have a location problem. They have an entertainment problem. The night feels slow. The music misses the crowd. The lighting feels way flat. The promotion is weak. The room has no clear identity. That's where Sama Entertainment Consulting comes in. I'm Felix Sama. We help nightclubs, lounges, restaurants, and venues turn slow nights into signature nights. We study the room, we identify the right audience, we build stronger theme nights, we bring in the right DJs, live bands, hosts, and entertainment. We improve the sound, lighting, visuals, music programming, marketing, promotions, and customer experience, because a great night is not one thing. It is the right mix of energy, strategy, talent, production, and promotion. When the room feels alive, people stay longer, they spend more, they come back, and they bring their friends. Sama Entertainment Consulting gives your venue a real entertainment strategy, not guesswork. If your venue has slow nights, empty dance floors, weak themes, or no reason for people to return, let's fix it. Book a venue strategy call today. Sama Entertainment Consulting. Let's pack your place.
I mean, it when I went to the studio for the first time to go like actually work, like there were a lot of really big people there, and when Arthur Baker was like, "These are my boys. These boys are going to change how the remix is constructed." Because that's what Arthur Baker was doing. They just expected Albert and I to be like 40-something years old, like we have been doing this forever. You know what I mean? I was working at a record store part-time, and then I was an elevator boy at Lord & Taylor, which is a department store part-time. So I went and did my first Diana Ross in an elevator boy suit, because I still had to go. I couldn't quit the job yet because I didn't know how much I would be making from doing this.
Of course. Yeah, you got to hustle it on the side first. Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, I just could not help being interested in from the editing, how all of those particles that create a song, bass lines, hi-hats, kick drums, all of the elements in the songs, vocals, harmonies, and all that stuff. Like I became so interested in how, like, what is it that makes that sound correct for that song? And so it put me in a scientific, microscopic mode. And then from that, you know, when the time was right among various musicians that, you know, from Fred McFarlane to, you know, all of the famous engineers, I'd have the guy be working on Alanis Morissette, Andy Wallace, and I would ask him a question about a kick drum, when it was the time. And of course, I'd bring him a cup of coffee at the same time or something. Yeah. And he knew I was the editor, but he just, gave me the time. And singers, when I was like, starting to work on some tracks, they explained harmony to me, but in a very caring way, like how you treat young bloods. Like let's say I start a karate class, and then the teacher could see like this kid's going to be able to compete. You know what I mean? He's got something. Yeah. And I think that's how Nile Rodgers saw me, and of course Shep Pettibone, who's one of my masters and icons, who helped me develop myself with absolute freedom.
Yeah. And, so let's talk about real quick before we get into the rest of that stuff. Let's talk about Show Me, the Cover Girls, becoming it was a defining freestyle record. Did you know during production you had something special, or did the public tell you afterward?
Well, we found out pretty quickly because, in the day of the club scene, which the same thing was happening in Miami, is that when Andy first wrote that song and I put the beats on it, like we still hadn't come up with the music first. I was like, it's so important that we create a beat, regardless of your song, that has character. I had already done One Way Love by TKA. That was my first song. And Andy did also a very extremely definable song with Please Don't Go. And I told Andy if we could take from that song and then make it so that it's the club jam. Of course, Please Don't Go was special. I wouldn't change a thing if I did remix it. I did put up the beats and stuff like that. But it's like, I felt like we could do something by putting those two together. So what I did was that I put the beats to Show Me down, and we had a girl sing a demo vocal. And I went to the Devil's Nest in the Bronx, and I gave Little Louie a reel-to-reel of it. He played it every week. It took us a month to record it because we had to get studio time. We had no money, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. By the time that song came out, every single person in the Bronx and in Manhattan knew the words to that song. They got on the radio the next day. Yeah. It was just one of those organic. I felt like the Nirvana of freestyle. You know what I mean? Like it was just like all of those elements were happening to make your stuff happen. And I couldn't believe that a drum appella could lead it. But I was like, this beat is fat, Andy. Like I'm gonna take this to the club, to Louis. And I brought my own reel-to-reel to connect it, and he never gave it back to me. And so I'm saying,
you could get it back now. You could probably buy you 20 of them.
I think it was more of the authenticity of how we did that, and I was all good with it. But by that time, I had already bought my own Atari, which is what you saw Carlos Berrios on. Yeah. But it's just the memories of that. Like you bring your stuff.
Yeah. It's incredible. So let's talk about Michael Jackson. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet him. I know you worked on his music. So let's talk a little bit about, that experience. How did you bring identity to that remix without damaging what, made the original record so special?
Well, Michael Jackson did something like he broke me through, like, people like Bruce Springsteen, I was, like all of them were about giving the Latin Rascals credit. But if they said the remixer name like this big on the covers, when they had covers, it would say edited by Latin Rascals that big too.
Wow.
When Michael Jackson, when Sony asked me to remix History, I had already done a lot of successful records already. But when Michael Jackson heard History, he asked me to go into the boardroom where they were playing it. And then at that point, he said, I want you to edit the whole History album together. And I also want you to help me with my Greatest Hits album. And I want you to pick the mixes that other people have done to make medleys of it. And I want you to do the edits for all of the video collages that they're going to play on MTV.
Did he tell that to you in person?
He said that to me in person. And this is with Tommy Mottola and people in the room. And, but
wow.
Michael would go into a boardroom and you really would have the person who did Star Wars, you know what I mean? You have all of these very important people in there and, to be sitting in a room where you were in that camp.
Yeah.
And then if I tried to explain something and somebody would cut me off, then Michael was like, yeah, I really would like to hear what Tony has to say. And I was just like, how can you not be perplexed?
That is so dope, man. That's crazy. You can tell that he's got that personality though, that he's like, forget about all that, corporate crap. You're like, let's get to the music, bro. Let's get to the music.
And so from there, he actually called the song, the remix that I did. He named, because he's Michael Jackson, everything that he does is big. He named the song is called History, and he named the mix Tony Moran's History Lesson, and it became a number one. It became a number one pop record in the United Kingdom. And then from that moment on, like everything elevated. Everything escalated.
How could it not? Now, I got a bunch of other questions, but the other question, while we're talking about Michael, let's talk about Madonna. What was the experience with Madonna? Were you like boys with Jelly Bean? Is that how all that transpired, or what was the connection?
I had known and met Madonna, but we weren't really friends because I used to DJ, not get paid for it, but at Danceteria, Mark Kamen, who was the producer of Everybody Come On Dance.
Yeah.
So he's the one who discovered her and took her to Sire Records where she got signed. And she hadn't even met Jelly Bean yet.
Okay.
So I thought that I would be remixing Madonna songs way before that happened. But when they asked me to work on Get Together, I had done edits for like Express Yourself and True Blue, things like that. But I had not remixed for her. But hers was the least personal because she didn't, ask me, and I wasn't. It was just like we need this song to go number one. Like, so we need to call Tony Moran. We need to get him to go and remix that song.
It was a job. Yeah.
So to me, the accolades came with the call. Like from her people. But with many other artists, it was just really, they would come into the room and I had Patti LaBelle, like re-sing stuff over again, and Luther Vandross and Barry Manilow.
Nice. That's nice.
Feel the beat at the Ultimate Dance and Freestyle Experience. Friday, August 28th at the legendary Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Performing live dance and freestyle icons Jody Watley, Samantha Fox, Expulse, Trinier, DG, 69 Boys, Live, Susie Sapphire, Voice Infection, No Mercy, Turbo B, I'll snap, Janice Robinson, Noel, Tony Moran, hosted by DJ Felix Sama. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. The Ultimate Dance and Freestyle Experience. Friday, August 28th at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood, Florida. For more information, go to dancenowamerica.com.
Now, when they re-sang those songs, was that a request by you, or was that already in the plan from the camp?
No, I mean, because it took a lot more time, to do stuff like that. But there were some songs, even with the technology at that time, which I think people might know already. When they hear a song in its original format and you hear "We Found Love" in a Hopeless Place by Rihanna, it's a lot slower in its original form than it is when it's like in its current form.
Yeah.
Or songs like "Oops, I Did It Again" by Britney.
Yeah, it's not the dance BPM that we're used to hearing.
Yeah, the BPM is so different that you can adjust it through technical forms, but then there's at some point where it just sounds like you're
wonky. Yeah, got it.
Like you're like a goober baby, and it's like you're rushing through it.
Yeah.
And so people like David Morales and myself, another amazing producer and remixer,
absolutely, 100%.
We said, I'll remix that song if you let me re-record it. And let me adapt the melody so that it is true to the song.
Yeah.
But that I finagle it so that all the key elements remain there. Mm-hmm. I even asked Gustavo Santaolalla, I had him play all the guitars over again to the song from Brokeback Mountain. Because I said, I can't time stretch this. This thing has to sound like an original Gypsy King kicking ass, track. Man. And I cannot do that, the time stretch. And
Yep. I see where you're going with that. And that's a good observation. Now, when you earned 2 Grammy nominations through your work with Gloria Estefan, what did Gloria understand about dance music and performance that separated her from the other pop artists?
She's a commitment person. Like, whoever, and I don't want to say whoever she's into, whoever she chooses to represent her in some way, whether it be a producer, manager, her background singers, her musicians have all been working for her for 30 years. Even as the sound changes and her music changes, she works around a lot of talented people that can conform, adjust. But from the moment I started, I did a remix for her for free called "I'm Not Giving You Up," and I want to hire you to produce my whole album, and I'm going to give you all the tools you need. And, and I made her do a zillion takes because I have my own way of recording vocalists. Now,
Are we talking Gloria or are we talking Emilio? Who are we talking first person?
Emilio was the one who set up the meeting with Gloria.
But then Gloria told you directly
they're a team. Like, yes, for anyone to know, they are a full-on team. And then they asked me, and of course, Emilio is executive producer. And, he was there, I guess, to keep, an eye on me. It was to go from the DJ in that time, in the 90s, to go from the DJ brand and automatically assume that you can produce as well was not a popular thought by people in the industry.
No, it was not.
And so there was not a lot of trust for people to do that. But having produced all of those freestyle records in the past for all of these singers of songs that, anything from The Question to those CoverGirl songs, regardless of how much vocal talent they have, that I was able to bring out personality in there, and they could sense that I had a way to communicate and to also articulate that through my education from being around big producers like Nile Rodgers and so on.
Yeah. So you made that transition from editor to music producer to singer, right? So because you performed, but out of every major artist that you worked with, who surprised you the most with their preparation, their humility, and studio discipline?
Celine Dion, recording her. And she scared me to death. I mean, really, out of all these people like Michael Jackson is so famous that you don't react. You internally freeze and then just feel like you've been put into, like you're in outer space. Like Celine's persona is somewhat more of like a people person. You know what I mean? Like, so when I was with her, of course I had copies and copies of lyrics and stuff like that. And I had specific ideas of a song that I recorded for her that was called Heaven's What I Feel, which after we recorded Celine Dion, Gloria heard it and she was like, you know what? Like, I'm taking that song back. Like, you're not giving it. And so that's like the power of the power stuff when after I finished recording Celine Dion and ad-libs, and she's talking to me, she's like, Tony, come into the booth and sing it to me so that I can see like what your inflections and what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do it by pushing that button. And then she made me so nervous and I was like, I can't sing to your face, Celine. Like, you just turn around, let me sing it to you. And I guess she thought it was adorable, whatever. Everybody in the studio is freaking out. But fortunately, there's another Latino brother that was in the room named Humberto Gatica, that is one of the most famous engineers of all time.
Yeah.
That he was the one that said, Tony, Celine, I'm sending Tony in there. It's like, yeah, bring him in here because I can't hear like with everybody talking and cameras and everything like that.
Let's take a quick second to promote what this big concert's all about. I'm talking about the ultimate dance and freestyle experience. Let's go ahead and play that spot real quick here.
Yes, that is something that I am really looking forward to, everybody. I am going to be singing again in Florida over at the Hard Rock, and the list of names of the people that are performing are unusual to the type, and I kind of feel so great to expand on a greater variety of music that I also love. And with you being involved in it, and again,
It's
like
gonna
I
be
said,
amazing. I mean, you got Jody Watley, you got Samantha Fox. When's the last time you saw her perform? Sapphire, Trinier. By the way, I'm working with Trinier now. We're putting together some incredible music. Turbo B of Snap, Noel, 69 Boys, No Mercy, Janice Robinson, Voice and Fashion, Lime, Tony Moran. Come on, man. Like, and Susie Carr, Dreaming, Fading Away, Baby, I Love Your Way. I had a chance to interview her the other day, and she is still amazing. I mean, that lady's got one of the best voices in dance music, hands down. But
she reminds me of like Roxette. You know what I mean? Like her voice or her vocal range is so strong, and she doesn't scream her stuff out. Like, I love Taylor Dane, but Taylor Dane is like in your face.
I love Taylor Dane. Come on, that's like she is.
I was talking about the characteristics of her performances.
Yes,
because you're singing Dreaming was like, and so again, it's such a wide variety, and I'm so excited to be a part of it, and I'm so grateful that all the promoters and you have brought me in like an equal. You know what I mean? Like a person that's involved.
To get you back down here, Tony. You know what I mean? Because, like, dude, what you've built throughout your career is iconic, dude. Seriously, and I'm not trying to blow or gas you up, but you really are a hard worker, and you've proven that not only do you have to be a successful freestyle artist, but you can also evolve and you can also transcend into something else that you have a passion for. Hence, a lot of freestyle artists stay locked into performing the same records all the time. You expanded into house music, EDM, and the international LGBTQ community, and you're successful as a circuit DJ, and that's accolades on its own, man. And before we get to that, I'm going to show you something. Remember I told you I had a surprise for you?
Yes.
You're probably not even going to remember when this happened, but I'm going to show it to you.
Bring something new to the freaking table. You know what I mean? Like, really do your homework. Figure out what's going to separate you from the rest of the DJs that are out there. Find your niche, you know what I'm saying? And hone in on that. Do your homework, practice. You got to bring something new to the table. If you're just going to wait for the break part of a song and mix out of it, that shit ain't going to get you to the next level. I'm sorry, but it's not. You got to be unique. Produce your own music. Do your own mashups. You know what I mean? Find something original that you bring, even if it's from other songs and elements that already exist, but put your spin on it. You know what I mean? Find something that you can do that's going to separate you from the herd. That's the advice I would give to DJs that are on the come up right now. It doesn't matter if you're from Seattle or India. You know what I mean? If you're doing something different and people are gravitating to you on social media, then that means that promoters are going to notice you as well. And that means that you're probably going to get a phone call at some point in time, or you need to do your research and push your performances to these promoters and tell them, look, this is what I'm doing. I think it'll work at your venue. You got to sell yourself, bro.
Check this out. You're performing live for Hot 103 in New York, Arabian Nights. As a matter of fact, I don't have the audio on now. I'm going to switch over to the audio so you can hear a piece of the audio.
Is that the one that CDB sent me where I'm playing the keyboard?
Yes.
I love that. Arabian Nights.
Look at all that energy, man. Man, crazy, right? Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. When I see some of the videos and some of the steps I did, I see myself like on my knees like Elvis Presley, and I just like slid right off the stage of Roseland.
You were dreamer, man. You were living your best life, and you're still living your best life, man. That's amazing.
I am living my best life, and then I'm just just eternally grateful for making mistakes and realizing what ultimately has the greatest worth to me. Friendship, generosity, the true passion and compassion.
Absolutely.
All kinds of things like that.
Now, I'm going up on your Instagram, right? This is your Instagram. I saw this earlier. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I saw this earlier, and you're basically walking people through your garden. You go to the tomatoes, and you show how I didn't know you had a green thumb, bro.
Well, I have some help, but what it is I had to learn the hard way, like digging soil, buying sod, and you know, I grow figs. I eat the figs right off the bushes. I grow peaches, jalapeno, tomatoes.
Wow! And what made you get into like growing vegetables, man? Because I'm thinking about doing the same thing, but I just don't know how much work is ahead of me.
Well, you know, the pandemic was the opening door, because I just, you know, I ran out of stuff to watch on Netflix, and I needed oxygen, and I needed something to do. And you know, the person closest to me in my life is a fantastic gardener, and so was very patient with like letting me understand like what some of these things are, you know.
Very cool. So are you doing bananas and mangoes?
No, you can't go out there. It's all environmental. There's tons of flowers. You know, a lot of these flowers bloom at different times of the year. So like the house, like be a burst of yellow over here, and then be a burst of purple 2 days later. And you know, so I have a big house, so not having any help, like when it doesn't rain for like 3 or 4 days and it's like 99 degrees out here, it takes like 2 hours to water. But that's when I listen to my promos. I just put on my headphones and I'm listening to beats while I'm watering tomatoes.
Right, watering and planting. I know you were like, hopefully I don't bust my butt, but yeah, here's the tomatoes over here. I'm like, dude, listen, if I get into doing all this green thumb planting stuff, bro, I'm doing rice, I'm doing beans, I'm going all in, kid.
Yes, I haven't reached that level, but there's something about taking care of the house and doing things that, you know, I've lived in some spectacular places over the course of my life.
It's gratifying, man.
But now I feel like I'm home, and I want to do stuff, and I wash and I iron all the clothes in the house for everybody. You know what I mean? And
Mom is 92. What?
Yep.
My dad's 90. My dad is 90. Your mom looks amazing for 92. Are you serious?
We got some good DNA, Felix. We both got energy. We got our minds are intact. The greatest gift is that her mind is intact.
Yes.
And then I talk to her every day, and then I can talk to her and like not, and you know, and with hearing impediments and all that, I take the time to let her tell me her stories on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know you went on a rant here about the plane delays and stuff like that. You know, that's the life of a rock star, Tony. You know what I mean? Like you lived that all your life, bro. So you know what I mean? It's something that you're seasoned for.
You're right, and I'm like trained like a soldier to go like through anything. It's just at this one moment in time, because you know it was like 5 gigs in like 7 days, and as I was trying to get home, I was frustrated. But if anybody got to hear that message, what I was just trying to say is that, you know, like in regards to how corporations and how they merged, that's going to be us. What you got right now is that, you know, really what winds up happening when you go into an airline and you speak to somebody who works at the airline, that, you know, they're only being given information that's coming down the pike. And like 9 times out of 10, that is a fraction of the correct information that could be of help to a passenger. And so that's why I was applauding the people at American Airlines for trying to do a job with the minimum tools. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a screamer. I don't yell at people. I don't, you know, I don't do any of that stuff. You know, I just go on Instagram and like shed a tear or two. You know.
So I found. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I found Albert on his Facebook, and he's promoting. I guess it's a vinyl collection. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can turn on the audio because I want to be able to hear it. Let me see here.
It's happening. This is Albert Cabrera. Remember him?
I don't hear it, but anyway, he's promoting album that he did, and he's he's reinventing freestyle, dude. I heard some of the cuts, and I was like, that's super cool. So are you keeping in touch with Albert? Are you guys still friends? What's going on?
We're still good friends. Like he lives in Thailand, so I go DJ in Thailand, and I've got to visit him.
Best. Oh,
And-
the Rascal Mix.
There it is, Rascal Mix.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
a look, bro. Yeah.
So
If you're a
as
vinyl
I said,
collector, and why? Because you're a vinyl collector.
Albert and I are, two creative entities that have always respected what the other has done. And so I'm glad that Albert is giving himself the opportunity to refresh himself in the public eye. You know?
Yeah. That's great, man. I'm glad that he's still doing his thing, and
But he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go on stage. I'm like, Albert, just, going on stage, for those who have been on stage before, it's not always as easy as it looks. Even if you're going onto the stage and everybody's cheering you on, you're so nervous. You want to live up to the moment. You want to be able to remember the words to your song in moments of panic. You know what I mean? And you want to be able to deliver. And so whether you're playing the drums or the guitar or you're playing the bass or whatever, we all feel versions of that. I hadn't intended to be a singer or a lead singer in a band. It's just the way these opportunities kept coming up to us. They were like, you guys are too famous to not have an album. Like, one of you guys needs to go and sing on some songs. And Albert was like, I ain't singing on those songs. And so then I went with Sapphire and Mark Anthony, and we went into the studio, and then, I got a vocal coach to help me. Like, I was a great vocal producer, but you don't have to be a great singer to be a great vocal producer, because it is an all-encompassing communication that you're doing in order to articulate and trying to let people understand what it is that they can change within their voice or their persona in order to perform it.
Yeah.
So to produce Whitney, you don't got to sing like Whitney.
Yeah.
To produce Luther, you don't got to sing like Luther.
What type of sound are you into now? Like, when you produce music, are you focused more on the audience that you have in front of you for the type of the circuit, DJing that you're doing now? Or are you trying to, maybe do something that would appease the freestyle crowd as well?
The Felix Summer. Entertainment business mindset. Success. Hosted by radio veteran, DJ, producer, entrepreneur, Felix Summer. Hear the stories, learn the strategies, build your brand, grow your income, create your legacy. Artists, entrepreneurs, industry leaders. The Felix Summer Podcast, where success leaves clues. Welcome to the show, where culture creates currency.
Yes, I mean, I did this whole album with Sapphire that we're singing duets that I told you about. I just did like 3 new songs with Willie Valentine. I'm doing a song for 418 Music that I sang, that I already finished singing. I started working on a song for Deneen. I've been producing a song for C-Bank, and then what I just did for Cynthia. And then what I just have, what I had just discovered is that, sounds change, but the feelings that come out on the record is something that I cannot put on a technical term. It's like, I'm all in. I'm an all in person. It's not about losing sleep or this or that. It's just that I make decisions, and I'm like, working with somebody like with Cynthia was such a pleasure, because, at this point I wanted to give her the opportunity to make every possible comment that may come to you in order to get what you wanted.
So let's get into the honest thing about money when it comes to DJs, producers, and singers. Where do you think a dance artist's income come from right now? Where's the most successful route of money streams can an artist or a producer or remixer rely on?
Well, as a remixer, it would be cash based on you having the budget. And with a lot of remixes that are out there, I realize that it's harder. There's a lot more people out there doing the same thing, so it's harder to make a name for yourself in order for you to be of value. Like, I was remixing at the same time as Junior Vasquez, Hex Hector, Peter Hallwalhofer, Dave Morales, Frankie Knuckles. It was like, it wasn't that we didn't have to work for it, but I had to convince somebody that, like, that mix is going to cost you $50,000, Janet. You know what I mean? And nowadays that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Once, like, digital domain. So I think that volume for doing stuff, like, for not as much money, works for people that want to make a consistent flow. For me, performances and DJing are part of my most consistent money, because I've written so many songs for so many people over time.
Yeah.
I actually still get very significant writers' royalties, but now with Spotify and all of these things existing, like, you have to be the sum of the parts. You have to be some of everything. What Felix Sam is doing right now, producing parties, DJing parties, organizing stuff, collaborations, all that stuff. And then and you're not relying on one check. You're not relying on one gig. And so, you know, and then when you know, my partner, you know, is a caterer. And so when I got some free time, then I'd go help him make deliveries with catering, and I put on a t-shirt, you know, that, you know, I do a Brooklyn style. So I make my own t-shirt. I put my name on it. It looks like I'm coming from a pizzeria, you know, and it's not just for the money. It's just to keep myself busy, you know, and but right now you just can't wait for somebody to hear your mixtape. Yeah. And so for people that are just starting out, maybe people didn't catch that one, but you're the one that needs to be responsible for letting people understand that you're in the know. And so that's why you need to create content, you know?
Yeah, I truly believe that, you know, especially with guys like us that have been in the business for a while, we have so much vast knowledge. For us not to have some type of high ticket offer is really a waste, because I think that you can contribute so much by teaching the next generation the skill set. And we talked about this the last interview that we had, but this is the reason why I got together with Louis Martinet to put together a mentorship and a coaching program, because I just think that aside from, you know, it being lucrative, that's really not the number one reason why we're doing it. We're doing it more so because a lot of people out there are lost in the sauce. They don't know what direction to go to be successful.
And it makes perfect sense, because people are making it doing this and making it doing that. And what happens is, like, the natural human condition is that you're going to want to chase what other people are successful at. Yeah. You know what I mean? Instead of sticking to what a plan that you can make for yourself, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. And get things done. And it's just like, and, you know, once you can let go of some of the frustration, because, you know, people want stuff now. You know, I can remember being in DJ crews where nobody let me get on. You know what I mean? I would go there, help put everything together. And, you know, when it was my moment, I didn't need to dominate. I say, thank you. I give everybody credit. And I love when remixers send me stuff, I listen to the mix from beginning to end. I send notes. I send, you know, and as many as humanly possible, because I really feel that the only reason I'm sitting in this chair talking to you is because people took out the time to explain things to me, even when I didn't catch it the first time around. Even if you're a sponge, you know, and, you know, I've given myself, and then I invested, you know, I have a nice house, but I have a Toyota Prius. Like, I don't need a Benz, you know, I don't need to show for that. I'd rather spend the extra money on making demos for other people.
Yeah, it's what you're into. Here's what I want to say. And this is important, because a lot of people think that just because you're talented that you're going to make it. And that's not the case, okay?
Not at all.
We're living in a different world these days, okay? What you need to understand is, in order for you to penetrate and really build your fan base, you have to invest, okay? And what I mean by that is, first of all, you need to make good music that's going to resonate with the audience that you're trying to capture, right? And then once you do that, you need to build a fan magnet so that you can collect the emails of all the people that love your music. Not only streaming on Spotify and on YouTube and Instagram, and that's fine, but guess who's making all the money out there? It ain't you. You're not making money off of Spotify for real. You're not making money off of Instagram. You're not making money off of YouTube for real, unless you have like a podcast show and you're putting long form content and you're nursing that thing every week. What you need to do is you need to collect emails. That way you can bring them into your ecosystem. And once
you're 100% on that.
Yeah, once you bring them into your ecosystem, you got them. Now they're wanting to know, what do you have in your store, Tony? Can I buy a book from you? Can I buy a shirt from you? Can I buy a retreat that you're going to be at from you? What kind
of can I donate to your page, to your Mixcloud page?
Can I have a subscription on your page where I can pay you $50 a month and you can show me some behind the scenes of things that happen when you go to your EDM clubs? They want to see experiences from you that you can give them. And this is what we're not investing in. And then once you build it, you got to advertise it too, brother. You got to do an ad spend. You have to do an ad spend to promote it, because that's how you get more people to come to your funnel and be a part of your experience. And that's what people don't understand.
Like those videos, I mean, I had to conform, and I did it. I struggled through it, because, you know, I really have to spend like 2 or 3 hours a day on the computer organizing and doing and posting about the shows. And, you know, and trying to space it out. Yeah. And I'm really not the kind of person that says, hey, you know, bring this out on the show, go get your tickets there. I got to put emotions in it, because I love what I do. And sometimes I struggle with that, and I lose hours in the day, but it's all worth it. You know, you have to promote yourself. You have to be consistent.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the mailing list, you let them know you got something new out. You got
That's right.
fresh out.
Absolutely.
You got a new song on there.
Yeah, it's a different mindset, bro. It's a different mindset that you need to have now. If you're going to be a successful artist and you're going to make money, 5 to 7 figures from your artistry, you got to build yourself an ecosystem where your fans have options of what to buy from you. And you can even sell them lifetime memberships that they'll buy because they're super fans. And these are the things that people are not taking advantage of. Like a guy like you, you're doing well for yourself, but a guy like you, if you built that funnel, you're off to the races. And here's the thing, that's when you control time and time doesn't control you.
Yes.
Listen, most venues do not have a location problem. They have an entertainment problem. The night feels slow, the music misses the crowd, the lighting feels way flat, the promotion is weak, the room has no clear identity. That's where Sama Entertainment Consulting comes in. I'm Felix Sama. We help nightclubs, lounges, restaurants, and venues turn slow nights into signature nights. We study the room, we identify the right audience, we build stronger theme nights, we bring in the right DJs, live bands, hosts, and entertainment. We improve the sound, lighting, visuals, music programming, marketing, promotions, and customer experience, because a great night is not one thing. It is the right mix of energy, strategy, talent, production, and promotion. When the room feels alive, people stay longer, they spend more, they come back, and they bring their friends. Sama Entertainment Consulting gives your venue a real entertainment strategy, not guesswork. If your venue has slow nights, empty dance floors, weak themes, or no reason for people to return, let's fix it. Book a venue strategy call today. Sama Entertainment Consulting. Let's pack your place.
It's just that I love what I do and I love digging into stuff. And as I said, I'm in this collaboration mode, and with the artists in particular, no matter what it is you do, I don't care if you work at Costco, I don't care if you work at Walmart, I don't care if you work at a Lexus dealership, so that producers, labels, and others will believe in you more if they see you invest in you. If you're waiting for somebody to discover you because you're all that, and you can be, but to be quite honest, I can no longer afford myself, and I got to save up for a future nursing home. I can't subsidize every single person's song anymore. So I'm like, look, I'll put in some.
Oh, you got to pick and choose. Yeah, you got to pick and choose which ones you're going to promote,
and you got to invest in yourself. It's like this is going to be,
Yes.
And to them, they, and it doesn't matter if I got a house and I got it like that from your point of view. What I'm just trying to say is that if you ever want ever have a house and do something that you have to, it was no sacrifice to me to save up money to go and get studio time to show me for Andy or I. This is before we met before Sal got involved, Sal Abatello. Yeah. So I'm just,
I want artists and performers not to get it twisted, okay? Just because you're getting a lot of Spotify streams does not mean you made it, because that's not the equalizer to making it. That
is just part of the email blast that you will send out in order to say change.
That this will give you credibility within your fan base, but you still got work to do. Just remember, if you're gonna survive off of your artistry and not work a 9 to 5, you got to do a lot more than that. You got to invest in your brand. I'm just putting it out there, because if you don't do that, you're going to be a talented nobody. I'll be honest with you, and I'm just speaking the truth.
You're 100%. And branding doesn't mean that you have to become all of a sudden David Guetta. Branding is trying to find unique ways, easy to get a web domain, put in things as you know it, put in clips of stuff that you have, put in information, put in where you're from, because people will eventually, from that tape that they heard at the gym or on that 5-hour drive going from Port St. Lucie to Miami or whatever, like put on that gem. It was like, I'm liking this guy. I'm liking this girl. You know what I mean? Let me go see what they're about. Let me check out their profile. Let me send them. I mean, there's sometimes that, I get a lot of emotions based on watching what people write to me on Instagram, because it's just so genuine. And, we live in this world where it's like, like we're not trying to be hard, but we're careful about what we say, because people can take things the wrong way, But I'm not that person, and I appreciate people, and I like when it's time for me to want to say something complimentary, then I do it.
Yeah, I could tell that you love performing. You've worked with some of the greats. You're still doing music videos. You're knocking them out at the EDM circuit performances that you do. What's next for Tony? What are you looking to do to finish out 2026?
In 2026, I started doing like a Latin Rascal biography.
Very
because
cool.
so many things had happened, with Albert and I that is so significant, and it's really less about the name dropping, but like how we were able to make decisions and as a team, go and do it. Even if, our differences were really with Albert and I, it wasn't like, like we don't like each other anymore. It was more like I got to a point where it was like, I had done the Show Me with Andy. I was really wanted to be in the studio, and then Albert, rightfully so, was like, "Yo, man, that we are making buku dollars off of doing this editing thing. We are the icons." I'm like, I don't want to be an icon at one thing. I want to know what I could learn more. I want to figure out whether or not I have what it takes to make songs. I wasn't thinking about producing Michael Jackson or the future Adele. I just want to know how to make what I edit.
Yeah, you keep growing. You wanted to keep growing. But if it was up to Albert, the Latin Rascals would still be editing.
At that time in his life.
At that time. But obviously you guys would have evolved and you guys would have done what you're doing now, producing. But yeah, it would have been, with Albert, which in a way, I think you did him a favor, man, because he got the chance to grow as an individual and you grew as an individual. So I think
he's worked on plenty of house records, worked with some of the real greats. Our aspirations are different.
And he's got this workout regimen that's incredible. I saw how some of his workout stuff, that dude is into like, Running Man workout type flavor.
Yeah. I said, Albert, I go to the gym, but I ain't doing no upside down push-ups.
So what would you say your biggest business mistake that cost you the most time or peace?
You mean my most regrettable moment?
Yeah.
My most regrettable moment is that at a part of my career that was very, very secure, which was the remix career, I was already producing big acts and I was already making a lot of money doing other things, but I didn't want to give up remixing. But I got to a point where I was doing so many. 150 number one songs. When did I do it?
That's unbelievable, bro. That's unbelievable.
And I'm a Colombian American, and so of course, I always wanted to work on a Shakira record, and I did work on a Spanish album Shakira record.
Mm-hmm.
And when Sony gave me everything, part of everything. Hex, me, Peter Rawhofer, and then when they presented me with the song called Hips Don't Lie by Shakira, I called back the head of Sony and that department, and I'm like, look, I cannot, unless she comes in to sing it, I can't juice that up to be a hot house record. He was like, Tony, take the money and just do it. Just your name is gonna have it played. And I said, I would rather work on any other album track that she has on her album. And I said, Tony, I respect what you're saying, but you're never gonna work for Sony again. You know what I mean? For Sony as a remixer again. And then I just have to say to myself, it's like, well, whatever it is that I said, I did not say out of harshness. I said out of honesty.
Yeah, respect.
And when you're in big business, if you work with Domino Sugar and you're in a meeting, you said, why don't we just take down the price 2 cents per bag? That could cost you your job. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean 2 cents a bag? 2 cents a bag times 2 million bags that are sold every year. And so it's not nasty because I was still producing Gloria and all this kind of stuff. But at that point, they didn't ask me anymore. And I did remix George Michael and many other people on different labels. But Sony was like my company, and saying no to them, I don't know what to think. Should I have taken it? Should I not have taken it? Where would I be today? I'm in a place.
You did it for a reason. Your heart wasn't into it, man. Yeah, you did it for a reason. That's like me working at a station that changes format and the format doesn't gel with my personality. I got to rock away. You know what I mean? And I have. You know what I mean? It's just not in my DNA to do something that my soul is not into. What? Let me ask you. What did you have a nickname back in the day? Tony Chase?
No, Tony. It was Tony Tone. Tony T or Tony Tone.
It was Tony. That was your b-boy name back in the day.
That's what everybody called me. Like everybody called me Tone, and
Tone?
So
okay.
Tone. So
I wonder why Tony Chase came up. That's weird. Okay.
Well, there's more than one of us, but there's only one Felix Sama, and he's going to be with me in August performing at the Hard Rock.
That's right. August 28th.
It's going to be the jam.
It's going to be
greatest
amazing.
Artists of all kinds of freestyle music and beyond. Part of what created our history in our love of music.
Expose, Jody Wiley, Samantha Fox, Sapphire, Timmy T, Trinier, Turbo B of Snap. What? You don't have your tickets yet? Are you insane in the membrane? Noel, 69 Boys, No Mercy, Janice Robinson, my girl, Voice and Fashion, Lime, Susie Carr, and the unbelievably incredible Tony Moran. He's going to be doing Arabian Nights and all the hits. All right, so I told you I was going to fire off some questions real quick. All right, these are rapid fire off questions. I forgot what I called them, but anyway. Who's got the biggest ego? A singer, a producer, a DJ, or a promoter?
DJ.
Really?
Feel the beat at the ultimate dance and freestyle experience. Friday, August 28th at the legendary Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Performing live dance and freestyle icons Jody Watley, Seattle Fox, Expose, Trinier, DT, 69 Boys, Live, Susie Carr, Sapphire, Voice Infection, No Mercy, Turbo B, I'll snap, Janice Robinson, Noel, Tony Moran, hosted by DJ Felix Sama. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. The ultimate dance and freestyle experience. Friday, August 28th at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood, Florida. For more information, go to dancenowamerica.com.
I would have said singer.
They can have diva moments, but for the most part, they know that they got to go up there and sing. A DJ can all of a sudden seem as if the entire crowd is uneducated and unworthy of their music. And once you think that, then that is not your path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I did like 2 weddings where people pay you like quadruple the price because they want you to be there.
Yeah.
And I never did one again because I was like, that's a skill. Like to be able to take various songs, various tempos,
Yeah. I
bring
do
them at the
weddings.
right time.
I've done weddings my whole life. Yeah. Yeah.
I left crying in a tuxedo on the steps. I mean, I still had a wad of cash in my pocket, but I was just like, I would do it with somebody else. Like I said to you, I would want to go to your house one day and just be able to develop my skills in regards to being able to adapt.
The
to
wedding, Tony Moran, the wedding MC. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, make noise for Mr. and Mrs. Ya Tu Sabes.
Exactly. And I forgot to bring ABBA. And like, forget it. I thought it was the first time I thought somebody was going to get violent with me. But let's go on. I got to go back into the studio with this guy.
Yeah, what's harder, remixing a superstar or getting every freestyle artist to sound check on time?
I go to sound check on time, and many of the artists don't do sound check. And I understand that they're probably a lot more seasoned at it. But to me, like every room sounds different. And even if you got those inner ears or whatever, sometimes stuff just does not work. And so I want to be in a room and check out the size of the stage. Like where I'm performing this weekend, it's a 3-hour drive from New York, but I'm going to get there 3 hours early just so I can do sound check. I want to see the DJ and I want to look eye to eye. If anything, God forbid, the tape stopped in the middle of it, I can just look at the DJ. I got this. I'm going to talk, and I know you got me.
That's
but just
right.
having that sound check that we know,
That's
you know.
right.
So
all right,
so
one record to save the dead dance floor. A record to save a dead dance floor. Is it Show Me, Billie Jean, or I Want to Dance with Somebody?
I want to dance with somebody.
Really? Okay.
Because I want to dance with somebody. Every girl will come out and she'll make somebody come out with her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Billie Jean is a hot jam that everybody will, do their moonwalk towards the dance floor.
Not everybody knows how to do the Michael Jackson, let's be honest.
Show Me, people will run from the bathroom to the dance floor to get to that chorus.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I want to dance with somebody.
I would have picked I would have picked I Want to Dance with Somebody or Billie Jean. Because I see what it does on the dance floor. Which freestyle artist would survive best as a modern EDM festival headliner?
Let me see. I think Noel. I mean, I've recorded so many songs with him, and as a guy,
really,
even though he doesn't present the vocal character, like let's say like artists that perform for Swedish House Mafia.
I think you probably his tone, right? Is that what you're listening to?
It's just like, Depeche is so core EDM, even though you hear whispery female vocals. But like, I think as a guy that he would be able to still convey artist personality over an EDM track, where you could hear 100 EDM tracks and not know who the heck is singing.
How do you think Stevie would fare on that?
CBB.
Yeah.
I think CBB could write the perfect song that is not verbose. That would be any. I mean, I could hear him do like No Mercy. Like, where did you go? And then we just had just enough to have that.
I think, and I did it already. I did a dance mix of Because I Love You, and I played it for Stevie, and he was like, I like it, but you're hiding my vocals. I want you to bring my vocals on in. And he was right. I went back and I listened to it. I was like, yeah, he's right. I need to really bring his vocals out there. But the way we produced that song, it really complemented his style. So Because I Love You for me is a great rendition of a dance record. So
I agree. That many great renditions of ours.
Yeah, I'm going to keep working on it. Yeah.
Well, you guys send it to me, and I'm going to see you soon. So let's stay connected.
The last one. Who's the funniest freestyle artist that you've ever traveled with?
Coro.
Yeah, he's pretty
Coro
funny.
and George Lamont. They're non-stop Abbott and Costello in every single way and form. And what happens is that since they're all around each other, Cynthia, Judy, all of them all the time, they all get it. And every time I'm in there and I'm in the middle of one of the comedy, skits or whatever they're doing or playing around or pranks, I'm like, I'll laugh when I see them laugh. Like, I'm not trying to get it. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
But they're very lighthearted, and I'm looking forward to doing this Dream Girl Cynthia cruise in order just to spend time around all of the kids, man. But not more than I'm looking forward to the Hard Rock in August.
That's right, man. Hey, man, I want to thank you for being on, Tony. I really appreciate you, brother. I can't wait to connect with you. It's going down August 28th at the Hard Rock Live, the ultimate dance and freestyle experience. Get your tickets now before they sell out. And Tony, man, one love, brother. Let everybody know what socials they can get in touch with you with.
Yes. The best for me right now would be on Instagram, which is DJ Tony Moran, and on my TikTok, which I keep forgetting the address to that, is it's Tony338.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Much love to you, bro. Man. Peace out.
Love.
I'll see you real soon, man.
You got it. Thank you, Felix, for every moment. I thank you for believing in me, brother.
We started. You my dancing team.
We moving, we grooving.
You my dancing team.
We ready, rock steady.
You my dancing team.
From city to city, let's start it.
You my dancing team.